Welcome, dear listeners. Today, we journeyed to the deep American South, to the small fictional town of Mockingbird, Alabama, during the 1930s. It was a time of racial segregation, hardship, and profound moral testing. This is the world of Harper Lee's timeless masterpiece, To Kill a Mockingbird, a powerful story of innocence, justice, and courage, seen through the eyes of a young girl named Scout Finch. This is more than just a story about a courtroom case. It's a coming-of-age tale about humanity's eternal fight between good and evil, and how a child learns to understand the world's complexities. Our story is told by Jean Louise Scout Finch, a curious and tomboyish 6-year-old girl. She lives with her older brother Jem and their widowed father, Atticus Finch, a lawyer known throughout Macomb for his quiet wisdom and integrity. Their world is also shaped by their housekeeper, Calpurnia, who acts as a mother figure, teaching them invaluable lessons in respect and kindness. Macomb is a quiet, dusty southern town where everyone knows everyone else and where people are often judged not by who they are, but by their family name, their skin color, and their reputation. Scout and Jem spend their sun-drenched days playing with their friend Dill, a quirky and imaginative boy who visits every summer. Together, the three of them become completely fascinated with the mysterious Boo Radley, their reclusive neighbor who never, ever leaves his house. Rumors swirl around Boo, like the dust on Macomb's unpaved streets. The town whispers that he's a monster, a ghostly figure who only comes out at night. The children, filled with a mix of fear and curiosity, dare each other to sneak up to the Radley house, exchanging hushed stories about him and wondering if the chilling myths are true. But as they grow, they begin to sense that there is more to Boo Radley than the town's cruel gossip suggests. Small gifts like gum and old coins start appearing in the knothole of a tree on the Radley property. Mysterious acts of quiet kindness that hint at the gentle soul hidden within. At the heart of the story stands Atticus Finch, the unwavering moral compass of calm, wise, and deeply principled. He instills in his children one of the most powerful lessons in literature. To truly understand a person, you must climb into his skin and walk around in it. He teaches them that real courage isn't about holding a gun, but about fighting for what's right, even when you know you're likely to lose. And that conviction is about to be put to the ultimate test. Everything changes when Atticus is appointed to defend Tom Robinson, a black man falsely accused of raping a white woman, Miella Ewell. Miella is the daughter of the town drunk, the poor and cruel Bob Ewell. In Macomb, racial prejudice runs as deep as the nearby river. The townspeople are quick to criticize Atticus for taking the case, for daring to defend a black man against a white woman's word. Scout and Jem are mocked at school, taunted for their father's principles. But Atticus remains steadfast, telling them the one thing that doesn't abide by majority rule is a person's conscience. The Macomb County Courthouse becomes the center of the novella stage where truth and racism collide in a powerful public drama. Scout, Jem, and Dill, desperate to see what happens, sneak into the courthouse and watch the trial from the balcony, the section reserved for the town's black citizens. From their perch, they witness Atticus meticulously dismantle the prosecution's case. Through the testimony, it becomes painfully clear that Tom Robinson is innocent. He didn't attack me. In fact, he often helped her with her chores out of pure kindness, feeling sorry for her lonely, difficult life. But the truth is far darker. Miella, isolated and abused by her father, made an advance on Tom. When her father, Bob Ewell, saw them, he flew into a rage, beat his daughter, and then forced her to blame Tom Robinson to cover his own shame and cruelty. Atticus brilliantly proves that Bob Ewell is lying. He even demonstrates that Tom's left arm is crippled and useless, a result of a childhood accident. This makes it physically impossible for him to have inflicted the injuries Miela sustained, which were clearly caused by a left-handed person. Atticus then has Bob Ewell sign his name, revealing to the entire court that he is, in fact, left-handed. The evidence is undeniable, but in a world ruled by deep-seated prejudice, facts often don't matter. The all-white jury, bound by the unwritten laws of racial bias, finds Tom Robinson guilty. The verdict lands like a physical blow. Scout and Jem are devastated. For Jem, in particular, the injustice shatters his childhood innocence. He can't comprehend how the jury could ignore the truth so completely. He learns a harsh lesson that day. Justice doesn't always prevail. Later, the tragedy deepens. Atticus returns home with grave news. Tom Robinson, desperate and hopeless, was shot and killed while trying to escape from prison. Atticus delivers the news with a quiet, profound sorrow, knowing that Tom's death was almost inevitable in a society blinded by its own hatred. Even though Atticus lost the case, he wins the quiet, profound respect of Macomb's black community. As he leaves the courtroom, they all stand in silent tribute to his courage. But Bob Ewell, humiliated and exposed as a liar in court, vows revenge. He spits in Atticus's face, harasses Tom's grieving widow, and tries to intimidate anyone who stood for the truth. Then, one dark Halloween night, as Scout and Jem are walking home from a school pageant, their worst fears become reality. Bob Ewell attacks them in the darkness, intent on harming Atticus's children to settle his score. In the violent struggle, Jem's arm is broken. Scout, trapped in her bulky ham costume, is helpless. Suddenly, another figure emerges from the shadows. A struggle ensues, and Bob Ewell is stopped for good. In the confusion that follows, Scout realizes that their savior is none other than Boo Radley. He carries the injured Jem back to the Finch house. Scout finally meets the man she had feared and imagined for so long. She sees that Boo is not a monster at all. He's a gentle, painfully shy man who has been quietly watching over them, protecting them all along. When the sheriff arrives, he must decide what to do. He knows Boo Radley killed Ewell in defense of the children, to protect the intensely private Boo from the trauma of a public investigation. The sheriff decides to report that Bob Ewell simply fell on his own knife. Atticus, a man of law, struggles with this, but ultimately agrees. Scout, with a wisdom beyond her years, understands completely. She tells her father that exposing Boo to the town's scrutiny would be like shooting a mockingbird. This brings us to the central symbol of the novel. The mockingbird represents innocent beings who do no harm and only bring beauty and song into the world. As Atticus explains earlier in the story, it's a sin to kill a mockingbird. Tom Robinson and Boo Radley are the stories to Mockingbird's good, harmless men who become victims of society's cruelty, prejudice, and misunderstanding. By the end of the novel, Scout's perspective has been forever changed. Standing on Boo Radley's porch, she looks out at her neighborhood and finally sees the world from his eyes. In that moment, she truly understands what her father meant about empathy and compassion. She has grown from an innocent child into someone who recognizes the complexities of good and evil coexisting in the world. Asterisk, To Kill a Mockingbird, asterisk, is more than a story about racism or childhood. It's a mirror held up to the human conscience. It asks us to see beyond our own fears, to stand for justice even when the world stands against us, and to protect the innocent in a world that often seeks to harm them. Through Scout's eyes, we witness not only the tragedy of injustice, but also the enduring hope that understanding and compassion can bring. Atticus Finch remains one of literature's greatest moral heroes, a man who shows us that true courage is doing what is right, not what is easy. As Scout drifts to sleep in the novel's final pages, Atticus is sitting beside her, reading. He is watching over her just as Boo Radley once watched over her from the shadows. The world may be a harsh and unjust place, but as long as there are people who choose compassion over hate, there will always be light in the darkness. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through Mockingbird. If you enjoyed this summary, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more explorations of timeless literature.